Brad is also.
Okay.
That's Brad, right?
I'm on.
Okay.
Okay. Right in the middle of your financial academic planner, you will find information about financial literacy. And it's a lot of useful information. So that's what I want to talk about just real briefly. Things that can help you relieve you of some financial burden. Some of the topics I would like to talk about is a budget. How many of you create a budget? You don't have to raise your hands. You know, we all talk about it, and we talk about, well, we need to know how much money we have coming in and where that money goes. If you make it simple, and there's a real simple example right in the middle of your academic planner, try it. Make it easy, but watch your resources that are coming in and how you're spending those. You may be surprised how much money you can save that way. Another way is make a savings plan. You know, when you were small, I always call it the piggy bank philosophy. We all had a little piggy bank that we would keep change in. It's that same type of thing as you get older. Just a small amount of savings will add up. And like I said, you just have to discipline yourself to do so. And these may sound like minor things, but over the long run, it does pay off. So try to come up with a savings plan. When we talk about credit reports, if you have ever had a student loan, if you've ever had a credit card, if you've bought had an automobile loan, a mortgage, you do have a credit report. Did you know that you have access to free credit reports from 3 different agencies? And you can get request 1 credit report from each agency over 1 year. Now, that's not the same thing as a credit score. If you request a credit score, then you have to pay for that. But that will give you information within your academic planner of those agencies and how to request that credit report. Who uses the credit reports? Well, a lot of times government agencies will use that. Anytime that sometimes landlords will go out and look, so you never know who's out there looking. So it's a good idea to watch your credit report. How do you improve your credit score? Well, one thing, you pay your debts on time. So prompt payment, paying those off. If you have credit cards, if you keep your oldest credit card, that always helps your credit score. Not getting a lot of credit cards, because that sometimes will affect it. If you have good positive information on your credit score, that will stay on your credit report indefinitely. But if you have bad negative information, that will usually stay on there about 7 years. Sometimes there will be some bankruptcies that may stay on for like 10 years. Another topic that we hear about a lot is identity theft. Seems like every day on the news you hear some type of identity theft. So you need to be aware, guard your information. Don't carry your Social Security card. I know years ago I used to carry mine. Like my driver's license, I'd carry it. That's not a good idea. So you need to make sure that you have it in a secure place. And you may already be doing these, but sometimes you just don't think about it. You need to be careful on what you release to people over the telephone, because you never know who's on the other end. And anymore with the internet, you have to be very cautious there too. When we talk about credit cards, you know what a good rule of thumb is? If you use a credit card, you are charging, okay? So, and they do come in handy, but you should never charge more than you can pay off the next month. That's just a good rule of thumb. When you start charging more than you can pay off, it's amazing how fast that balance will increase. You need to be familiar with how the credit card agencies, how they calculate interest rates. And all the time I get these things in the mail where it's kind of enticing you to switch your credit card over to this one. We'll give you a better interest rate. Hey, that sounds pretty good, but you need to read the fine print. What happens when it's past the 6 months or the year? So you need to, pay attention to things like that. there are some, sometimes this is kind of boring, but if you look in your academic planner, you're going to find some websites where you can go out and do some fun things. Visa and the American Football League and the Soccer League, they came up with some games. So you can go out and you can learn financial concepts as well as maybe, learning, having a little fun. So sometime if you have a little break in between your classes and you're sitting out there where there's a computer, you might want to try those. When we talk about financial aid are resources to help you pay for your college education. And a lot of times when we say that, we think we're just talking about the federal programs, which that's the largest programs we have. So we do encourage you do need to apply on that FAFSA, that free application for federal student aid, and you have to do it every academic year. So I hope you did apply for this academic year. If you haven't, you still have time, but you need to get on the ball and get it done. But the FAFSAs run the academic year. So the one that our students are using right now is a 2014-2015 year. So that means our fall, our spring, and then next summer. So come January 1, there's going to be a new FAFSA out on the web, and that will be for your next academic year. Fall of 15, spring of 16, summer of 16. So don't forget to redo that. You've got to do that every academic year, okay? And sometimes students get real busy, as I know you are, but try to, put you up some flags or something to remind you to do that. You need to apply as early as possible, and there's several reasons for that. We do have some campus-based programs, the work study and the SEOG supplemental grant, that we only get an X amount of dollars in those two programs, so we have to spread it as far as we can. So we offer it and award it to students that apply on their FAFSA by March 31st, that have our maximum Pell eligibility, which would be our neediest students. And the work study, there is a question on your FAFSA that says, are you interested in work? So anyway, that's kind of how we do that, but and encourage you to apply before March 31st. Last year, well, let me go back. I think this will be our 5th year, but we do what we call FAFSA Frenzy. The state of Missouri organizes this, and they find different locations across the state where agencies or institutions will host what we call the FAFSA Frenzy. And there's financial aid personnel and volunteers that come in, and they invite parents and students to come in and apply on their FAFSA. And, we have the computers, and that way people are there available if you have questions. So we are, again, scheduling one. It will be March the 7th. That's on a Saturday. And we'll go 2 to 4, and we'll be over at Liebauer. So put that on your calendar. It's an easy way to help you file your FAFSA, and if you've got questions, then you have somebody there that can help you answer them. So, but even if you don't come to that, just remember, that old lady said, try to apply by March the 31st on my FAFSA. The FAFSA is also the application for student loans, federal student loans, and that is federal aid. And those are monies to help you go to college, pay for your education. We like you to borrow wisely, okay, because that's money you have to repay. But it is money to help you go to school. So you would only, borrow what you need to help you get through your school year. Did you know there's a difference between a subsidized and an unsubsidized Stafford loan? Subsidized Stafford loan means the government will pay the interest for you as long as you stay enrolled at least half time, minimum 6 hours, and you're not out of school longer than a 6-month period. So that's good, because if you're working on for your 2-year degree or even going on beyond that, if you don't take summer classes, well, that's still not 6 months between May and August. So that's the better of the two. The unsubsidized Stafford loan, it's not based on need, but we do have to watch that it doesn't go above a student's cost of attendance. But the government does not pay that interest. The student pays the interest for that loan. even while you're enrolled. So you can pay it as you go, or you can let it roll back into what you borrow, your principal. But when you pay back, you'll be paying back what you borrowed plus that interest that has been accruing. But just remember, borrow wisely. You will have to repay it. It will follow you. It doesn't go away. And that's another topic that you see in the news quite a bit. But student debt, if you don't pay the government, you would become delinquent, and then at some point, if you don't make payments or get with the holder of your loan to work things out, a lot of times they have options out there, forbearances and deferments. So, life happens. So if you graduate, you get your degree, or you have to take a break and you're not attending school and you can't make those payments, contact the holder of those loans, because they can work with you to do that. And if you don't remember, who do I call? You can call us at our, financial aid office, or there's a website, and it'll be listed in your academic planner, the National Student Loan Data System. You can go out there and see how much I've borrowed, who's holding my loan. You can see how much Pell you've used, because now they put a limit on lifetime eligibility on Pell grants for students. So NSLDS is a really good site for anybody to keep up with if you're going to college, or even after you graduate. You can keep up with that information. But at any rate, the FAFSA, remember to reapply. Earlier the better. The state of Missouri uses that FAFSA also to apply for the Missouri Access Grant. The Missouri Access Grant, we've been working on that this week. It's a grant if you applied by April the 1st. That's a state deadline to apply for that Missouri Access Grant. It's awarded to students. You have to be full-time. You have to have unmet need. After you are enrolled, you have to have at least a 2.5 cumulative grade point average. So there's all these things that we have to check, but we've been working with that this week. So I imagine some of you may be getting some monies. You can go out on the Grizzly Den, you can look under financial aid, because we've been processing some of that this week. We encourage you to watch the Grizzly Den. I know Cindy and Carrie went over that earlier. Make use of that. You can see your financial aid information. You can see your student account. So make use of that. And if you have questions, come in or call us, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. Let's see, what else on the federal program? Okay, remember March 31st, but also remember March 31st is the scholarship application deadline for the majority of Missouri State West Plains scholarships. The 15-16 scholarship application is now out on the web. I would encourage you to go out there and apply for that. We want to award these scholarships. We have institutional scholarships that are pretty well based on the student's ACT, class rank, that type of thing. But we also have endowed and privately funded ones that those are friends of the university. So go out and apply on that application. I'd encourage you to do that. I guess that's about all. I know it's about to run out of time, but does anybody have any quick questions that maybe I could answer? Or if you think of something later, feel free to visit with me. And this little portfolio, this was free. I hope you can make use of it. Thank you.
So the deadline to the scholarship was?
For the scholarship, March 31st of 2015 for most of them. Now, there's a few that will go beyond that.